Hey everybody, what is going on? Hexlex here with another Master Duel video for you guys. Today we're going to be taking a look at more games from our climb up to Diamond 1 this season. The time that I'm recording this, or the date rather, it is the 7th, and we have now reached Diamond 1. So, made it a little bit sooner than I thought, or actually not about the same pace I thought I would, which is within about a week and a half. Given that I wasn't going into full sweat mode as I have in the past, just trying to get it into the first few days as possible. I did take a couple days off of playing just because of my schedule, doing IRL stuff, all that fun stuff, but did manage to get up to Diamond 1 there. I almost said Platinum 1. The good old days of the first few seasons when all we had to get to was Plat 1, right? It was definitely much easier back then, but not that we're admonishing the challenge now, because it is definitely a lot more fulfilling now. Well, I don't know about a lot, but it is definitely more fulfilling now to reach top rank with Diamond 1 as opposed to just Plat 1. But we didn't do the whole rest of the climb with Tri-Zoo. We did it about, I want to say maybe 60-40 with Tri-Zoo and Sword Soul. Last we left off on our Diamond climb, we were playing Virtual World, and we climbed up from Diamond 5 to 4. Basically, Tri-Zoo went up from 4 to 3, and then Sword Soul went from 3 to 2, and then I'm trying to remember, I think I went back down to 3 for a moment, and then got back up to 2 pretty quick before getting Diamond 1. So we're going to be taking a look at a few of the Tri-Brigade Zoodiac games from climbing through Diamond 4 and then up through to Diamond 3 as well. So as always, we're going to go ahead and break down the list card by card here before we take a look at these games. We are playing 3 Tri-Brigade Nervall, 3 Maxx, 2 Tri-Brigade Kerass, 3 Tri-Brigade Kitt, 3 Ash Blossom and Joyous Spring, 1 Ghost Belle and Haunted Mansion, 1 Destiny Hero Celestial, 1 Zoodiac Whiptail, 1 Zoodiac Thoroughblade, 1 Zoodiac Ramram, 2 Tri-Brigade Fraktall, 1 Destiny Hero Dasher, 1 Nibiru the Primal Being, 1 Harpie's Feather Duster, 2 Fusion Destiny, 1 Lightning Storm, 3 Fire Formation Tenki, 2 Call by the Grave, 2 Crossout Designator, 2 Forbidden Droplet, 2 Infinite Impermanence, and 2 Tri-Brigade Revolt. Down here in the extra deck we have 1 Destiny Hero Destroyer Phoenix Enforcer, 1 Zoodiac Drident, 1 Zoodiac Boarbow, 1 Zoodiac Chakanine, 1 Divine Arsenal Ah Zeus Sky Thunder, 1 Salamangreat Almirage, 1 Predaplant Vert Anaconda, 1 Ancient Warriors Oath Double Dragon Lords, 1 Tri-Brigade Farigite The Barren Blossom, 1 Tri-Brigade Bearbrum The Rampant Rampager, 1 Tri-Brigade Rugal The Silver Sheller, 1 Appaloosa Bow of the Goddess, 1 Axis Code Talker, and then finally, of course, 2 Tri-Brigade Shreg The Ominous Omen. I'm going to say the same thing I always say at this point in the deck profile, because I never know what else to say, which is, yep, build hasn't changed, still like it. I'm still liking the tech options as well. I've talked about this in the past Tri-Brigade Zoodiac videos have been kind of reconsidering maybe the flex spots of Ghost Belle and Lightning Storm. Possibly trying some other tech cards in there, like maybe DD Crow instead of Ghost Belle is one I've been considering for quite a while, because DD Crow is kind of like Ghost Belle, but it's a little bit more on brand, quote unquote, being a tri-type monster. It can be banished by the Tri-Brigades as part of the materials, but I don't find myself hurting for materials so badly that I feel the need to play DD Crow over Ghost Belle, and Ghost Belle does hit a slight more variety of things that DD Crow does not. Now, granted, most of the things you're going to hit with Ghost Belle, DD Crow can hit as well, and of course there are things that DD Crow can do, can hit that Ghost Belle is not capable of stopping, but I find between the two myself to be preferring Ghost Belle just a little bit more. And then the Lightning Storm is actually a little bit more firm still in the deck, because we're seeing a lot of Eldritches right now in addition to the Sword Souls, right? Because of 2 reasons. 1, Eldritch already has a good Sword Soul matchup, and 2, as Sword Soul gets more popular, people are starting to take out their back row hate or some other tech against, more back row based decks. Like, we're just seeing overall less Feather Dusters and Lightning Storms in the meta. I guess not only because people are taking them out to tech against Sword Souls, potentially, but also because Sword Souls themselves don't typically play those cards. As a result, Eldritch kind of gets to thrive a little bit, as its back rows tend to be messed with just a little bit less than usual. But I think that's why it's important to, in decks like Tri-Zoo that can very easily afford to throw an attack Lightning Storm in addition to like a Harpie's Feather Duster, I think that's why it's important for us to be playing those cards there. Alright, that's about all I've got to say for the build. Let's go ahead and take a look at some gameplay. So our first game we're going to take a look at here is against Sword Soul Tenki. And as always, as I like to mention, I say as always because I just mentioned it in the Viewer Special 7 video that I just recorded actually before this one. You know, I like showing games of Tri-Zoo beating Sword Soul because to me Sword Soul is like the meta bully, and then, you know, I mean, not the Tri-Zoo is like, you know, a rogue deck now that Sword Soul's around, but just seeing my favorite deck kind of topple the meta bully is always fun. Even if it is also another fairly meta deck. Unfortunately, all they can really do is make a Baron here and pass. Looks like they did not have much of other options in their hands, so that's pretty good for me. I'm going to leave the Kerass pitching the Nervall here. Dasher's not that great to have in hand, but we do have the Fusion Destiny, so we don't have to go out of our way to go into Vert Anaconda for this hand here. In fact, since I am going second here, I'm going to kind of try to, anyway, prioritize maybe possibly getting an OTK off here. I'm going to Kerass for 4 because, you know, when you're open Kerass plus Nervall, that's about the only way to make plays, is to Kerass for 4, get the Shurig, link them into Farajit, and then from there you can, you know, you use the Shurig to search up a Tri-Brigade that you want to summon with the Farajit, and then you can make plays. But yeah, opponent had other ideas in mind, obviously with the Baron. I kind of didn't expect the Kerass to resolve, so you might be wondering, like, oh, why did you banish 4, and don't you want to leave more Tri-types in grave? On the off chance they did let it resolve, I wanted to make sure I still was able to make plays, because if I'd only banished 2, I don't think I would have been able to necessarily go for a whole lot there. So we're going to go ahead and use the Fusion Destiny to make the DPE, and then we use that to take care of the Baron. And then we can send back the DPE, and now we can use that. Between that and the Nibiru, we should hopefully be able to maintain enough control over the opponent's board that they won't be able to do anything. It looks like they were not, in fact, able to do anything whatsoever. So we top deck Revolt because we're the luckiest player in the world. So even though we didn't get that set up on our turn 1 like you would ideally like to, we're able to have it up as an option anyway, because, like I said, once again, we're just the luckiest player in the world. They're going to lead with the Ecclesia here. Not going to try to use DPE or Revolt in response because Ecclesia is a quick effect. But when this Moye comes down, that's definitely going to be another story. I'm going to go ahead and use the Revolt here. And I'm going to actually end up leaving them with the Sword Soul token. I've seen some people say in the comments that in certain situations it's better to leave the Moye instead. And that is definitely something to consider, right? Because you shouldn't be removing things as a rule. So, like, for example, I kind of get trapped in this, like, tunnel vision kind of mode of thinking where, like, oh, if I have the option to remove one of either a Sword Soul monster or its token, as a rule, I'll leave the token, because then they can't do, like, Tenki link plays or link plays at all as long as that Sword Soul token is up. They have to sync with it first. But sometimes it is better to leave the Moye up, or the just the Sword Soul monster in general. Here I'm going to banish the Moye because if my opponent's got a Long Yuan, I don't want them to special that, get a Sword Soul token, and then they can go Moye plus token into a Chi Xiao, but of course they're going to end up getting the Moye back and normal summoning it anyway and making the Chi Xiao anyway, so didn't end up really mattering there. Yeah, actually, I should have remembered that they had sent the Adhara with the Long Yuan on turn 1 there. And that they would, and I should have realized between that and the fact they had normal summon that they would be able to just wheel the Moye back to the hand and then continue the play anyway. Although they're not able to do too much here. I'm going to go ahead and use DPE on the Chi Xiao during the end phase because that way it won't have a chance to negate the Shurig or any of my monsters here. And then also on top of that, of course, by sending the Chi Xiao, we prevent the blackout that was down. Well, I don't remember actually if it was down for sure. Did we see them at it? I don't think we did, but it's very likely they have blackout down. So by getting rid of the Chi Xiao, we not only prevent that from being an answer, the Chi Xiao, but then we also prevent very likely one of the back rows from being an answer, which I believe is why my opponent conceded. I imagine the other back row is just probably something like a Crossout or something like that. So, all right, let's go ahead and take a look at the next game here. Okay, this game is going to be against Danger Kaiju. Another one of those decks that I personally wouldn't mind trying. It's just it takes like 9 ultra rares for me to make it. It's like Dinos in that regard. I feel like very similarly about those two decks as far as like, well, like I'm curious, but probably won't end up getting around to it anytime soon. Looking at our hand here, we opened the Fusion Destiny again, so it's definitely always nice when we get that. we've got Kitt and Nervall. Oh, Jesus, that was like a Cockney British accent at the start of one. We got Kitt and Nervall here. I don't know where that came from. Anyway, yeah, we got Kitt and Nervall here, so there's not like too crazy of things we can do here, but we already have the Fusion Destiny anyway, so we can just kind of prioritize using our combo pieces, our Tri-Brigade pieces, I should say, in order to set up the Revolt. We do still have to be mindful, though, of getting Boarbow in Graveyard, while also still making sure we're able to summon DPE, because, well, I guess we're just not going to do it this turn, because we already sent the Boarbow away. As I was going to say, you know, you can only summon the DPE off of Fusion Destiny, or rather, strike that, reverse it. You can't summon DPE with Fusion Destiny if you use Boarbow, because if you use Boarbow, the effect that is to get Revolt, then you are only able to summon Tri-Brigades for the rest of the turn. Although I think there was something else that was keeping me from using Fusion Destiny anyway, which is why I went for the Rugal. I should have been paying better attention. I don't remember what it was off the top of my head, but our Revolt is still live, so as long as, you know, we've got these 4 monster zones, we'll be good. I'm gonna wait for my opponent to summon their level 8 monsters, so that way I can get rid of their right gate, or actually, I think I might go ahead and just get rid of their Drugalong, is what I was thinking. The, you know, rank 8 that summons another number monster out of the extra deck. That's usually they get the number 100, and they just OTK you because they have a ton of ranks on the field, although they end up going for Lancelot here, which is like, panic, you know. They didn't go for the Drugalong like I thought they would. So I always forget that this Lancelot is an option for them. There's been a couple of times where they summon it and kind of wreck me a little bit here. So I'll start by using the Fusion Destiny in order to provoke the Lancelot negation here, because I believe this is actually a mandatory effect, at least the way it's written. Once per turn during either player's turn, when a spoiler trap card or monster effect is activated, detach one. It's not. There's no like there's no like anything to intonate that it's optional. And it was the same thing too, gameplay wise. Like when I played it, it immediately negated. My opponent didn't even get a prompt, so I'm pretty sure that is how it works. Plus, you know, Lancelot was around when I was playing the game IRL, and I do remember it working that way. Again, I'm pretty sure. Maybe I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure that's how it works. But in any case, we were able to use the Fusion Destiny to successfully bait the negate there. And you might be wondering, wait, Lex, but I thought if you use Fusion Destiny, like if you activate it, you can only summon Dark Heroes for the rest of the turn. Well, that's actually only if the Fusion Destiny resolves. If I can get in the graveyard here, I want to show off the... Yeah, also for the rest of the turn after this card resolves. It even says it specifically. So because Fusion Destiny was negated and did not resolve, we are still able to summon monsters other than Dark Hero monsters for the duration of the turn. So that is how we were able to use that as a bait. And we were able to get the Revolt off anyway. So... Alright, let's go and look at the next game now. So this one's going to be against a Despia deck. It looks like a relatively pure Despia too. It wasn't mixed with like Shadalls. At least I just glanced at it. I didn't see too many Shadal cards. If there are Shadalls in here, it's a relatively small engine. But I don't remember seeing any during the game off the top of my head either. But I could be wrong, who knows. Sad when you can never trust your own memory like that. It's like, I think I remember this, but maybe. I don't know. But yeah, they straight up terraforming for the Despia Theater, so they're not even going for like the Alistair line or anything here. Going straight for the branded opening, I'm definitely going to respond with Maxx in order to make sure I get off the maximum number of draws. And they send the Ash there, which is a little odd to me that they just let the Maxx resolve without ashing it. I thought maybe they might have something else in mind, or maybe they needed a certain number of cards in hand. Like, they did discard, so maybe they have plans for the other 2 cards in hand, and that's why they didn't ash, but then they just searched this extra Albert off the Despian Theater, and they end with an extra card anyway, so that's really odd to me. I have no idea why they didn't ash there, but in any case, we'll now have to play through this Masquerade Blazing Dragon here. It's not going to be too bad, though. The 600 life points per, you know, effect might seem a bit scary, but we can just go into Drident and take care of it pretty handily like that. But our opponent's got the branded opening, so it's actually not going to be quite so easy or taken care of quite so handily. I'm going to move into the Fraktall next to try to get, well, I was going to say get a Kerass, we already have the Kerass. Opponent's got the getting material to send for, not send, a material, bleh, words. I want to search a monster to discard for Kerass because I am still planning on using this Drident to go and do a Zeus, and I still want to be able to set up 4 materials on it, and I can actually do that with the Whiptail, even though I've already used one of Drident's materials. So that's why I am not, or I don't want to discard the Whiptail with the Kerass here. And that's why I'm willing to take the, bit of extra damage here from the Masquerade in order to make sure I get that set up. Like I was about to say earlier, the 600 life points per effect seems really scary, and actually a lot of the time it can be, because you can see on even an average turn, right, it's going to put us pretty low here, but ultimately it can't be, it can't be stopping you from making plays altogether. Now the reason I went for Shurg specifically here is that I wanted to banish the Masquerade, not want to send it to the graveyard, because I knew it was possible for the dragon to come back with the Despia Theaters. I always have to say it that way, with the Despia Theaters effect. If it was sent to the graveyard, it could come back. Now, I wouldn't take damage because it only works when it's fusion summoned. So if the Masquerade gets special summoned back from the graveyard, then the effect that deals damage to you, if I recall correctly, will not apply. Let me go ahead and take a look here. Yeah, well, you control this fusion summoned card, so if they summon it back with the Theater, you will not be taking damage from that point forward. But no reason to give them the free body anyway. We'll just go ahead and take care of it like that. So we get to Foolish the Tragedy to add the Dramaturge. Now, by times from the Fusion Festival, playing Despia, I remember quite well that the Dramaturge is very annoying, so I'm actually going to use one of my Zeus charges here to get rid of the Theater, so I can hopefully get rid of their means of actually fusion summoning. But they still have the Albert in hand, so they're still able to search a Branded in red, which will not only bring a monster back from grave to hand, but then also allows you to then fusion summon. So, because again, I know if they fusion summon, they're going to be able to summon the Dramaturge, and they had another Theater anyway, so it didn't even really end up mattering. They're able to even fuse again using the Koratus and the Dramaturge in order to make this Predator Planet here, which is definitely not a bad card to make, because it's pretty much going to be quick effect negation, as you can put Predator counters on monsters as a quick effect, and then you negate the effects of any monster that's got a Predator counter on it. So basically it's a once per turn monster effect negation, kind of a la Imperm or Valor, like that kind of a negate in a way. I don't know, but yeah, we're going to just turn Zeus to attack mode and take care of it that way, just to get it out of the way. Now, our Zeus is going to be negated for this turn because of Alibur, but that's fine. We kind of wanted to, I mean, obviously we would have rather Zeus and then set up a board of our own, but it's not a big deal for us to do it this way either. Once again, we're just going to go ahead and banish 4 and summon Shuri here. I'm just going to straight up banish here. Opponent's going to use the Dramaturge to negate the Shurig, but that's fine. I ultimately was not particularly expecting this to resolve anyway. The main thing I wanted to do was link here. As I mentioned, this is kind of like the Kerass plus Shurig line, although this is definitely not the line I was going to do earlier. I guess this is a different Kerass plus Shurig line, but we're able to use the Shurig to search because I do have, obviously, plenty of Tri-type Spanish here, and then we can go into a Vert, and then we can use that to make DPE, and then from there we can just kind of pick apart our opponent's board. We've also obviously got the Zeus as well, and then we can use DPE to even blow something up. If we wanted, like if we wanted to Zeus, for example, we can use DPE to blow something up, even our own Tenki if we wanted to, just to get it off the field in the graveyard and destroyed, most importantly, not sent. Like I'll use it here on the Vert Anaconda. Basically the main point I was getting at is that I'll use DPE a lot more loosely than I normally would here, because I have the Zeus backup here. And I'll use Zeus a little bit loosely as well on just this one back row, because our opponent's only at 47. Like once this DPE comes back, that alone is enough damage to finish the opponent off here. And they've only got 1 card in hand. They can see it anyway. I was about to move to battle phase and just attack for lethal anyway, because I didn't really anticipate that my opponent was really going to have anything that Connect failed. I think they rage quit there if I remember right. But yeah, I didn't anticipate that my opponent was going to have anything that was really going to be able to stop me there. So All right, let's go and take a look at one more game we've got for you here, the last game. Okay, last game is going to be against Numerons, and this is actually going to be the longest duel that we're going to feature on today's video, at least as far as number of turns go. So, and I actually don't remember how this played out or why it ended up being 7, I think was the total number of turns. Well, I guess looking at this hand, that would be one reason why. We did not open particularly well here, so we're just going to set the Imperm and the Call by and Pass. I don't want to immediately summon the Celestial, even though I could. Even going, blind, obviously, playing monsters, or rather, playing against Numeron, it's better to not play monsters because it becomes much less likely for you to get OTK'd. That said, even going, blind going first and not knowing what the opponent is playing, still wouldn't want to normal summon Celestial because if it ends up in the graveyard, then you're not going to be able to fuse, as Fusion Destiny can only fuse with things that are in the... Actually, if you summon it, period, because Fusion Destiny can't fuse in the field. I think it's only hand and deck, so definitely want to leave the Destiny Hero monsters in hand if possible. Looks like they got the Prosperity for the Planet Pathfinder, but we have an Imperm, so we're once again able to foil their attempt to search up the Numeron network. Even though I don't have a board, you could technically still get OTK'd even if you don't have a board. Some Numeron decks do play Limiter Removal, and Limiter Removal obviously doubling the attack of all machine monsters will make them all 2,000, and then they'll just swing directly for a total of 8,000. Now we managed to draw the Zoodiac here, so I can at the very least get a Zeus set up in addition to this Ash as well. So hopefully between those two, that should be enough to keep me from getting OTK'd by the Numerons. As even if you have just one big defense monster out like Zeus, they're still pretty much always able to OTK you, right? Because the first 2 attack into your big defense monster, buff the remaining 2 up to 4,000. The one with 4,000 runs over the big monster, and then they get one with 8,000, and then that one with 8,000 attacks directly for lethal. So. But the opponent does not really have anything here. They just go and pass back to us. They could, they could have the Numeron network, but just not a way to keep it from getting Zeused. And maybe they would have just saved it for when they have like a monster effect negation. But of course, all the time they want to try to save it, it's just going to be more time for us to try to come back here. I would just summon Kitt, and even though I don't have another Tri-type to send from hand to graveyard in order to summon like a Kerass, in order to go into a line like that, I still wanted to do it in order to, one, set up the Almirage, because I am going to turn the Zeus into attack mode, and that's going to make it susceptible to Lightning Storm, so having that protection is going to be nice. But 2, I was also planning on searching Fraktall up with the Kitt, just to have it out, just to make sure that, that we're able to... pull out words, jeez. Sometimes that happens. I don't know. I just like stop mid-sentence. We are still, we're using the Kitt, even though we don't have like plays. Still searching up the a Fraktall in order to have plays the next turn is what I was getting at there. So we ended up typing a Tri-Brigade monster anyway. We got the Nervall here, so even though our opponent's got the C, we have the Ash as well, and we're able to now go into plays with this Nervall, and then the opponent just concedes as they only had 1 card left, and it seemed like it must not have been a very live or relevant answer, as the opponent just, as we saw, just conceded after that. So that's all the Tri-Brigade duels I've got for this one, so let's go ahead and move now to the outro. Okay, everybody, I want to thank you for watching to the end of the video like this. Yeah, this one's actually going to end up being a little bit shorter than my videos have tended to be recently. Well, when I first started, I was just like at least 20 minutes, but now I kind of like to be at least 30 minutes, just to give you guys a little bit more content there per day. But this one I think is going to end up falling a little bit closer to the like 25-minute mark. I don't know, it doesn't really matter. But yeah, like I said, just a little bit of a shorter one, just because like when I was getting these Tri-Brigade games, when I was climbing, I tried to get at least one more good one, but ultimately I was like, all right, I'm having a bit of a hard time here. I just want to switch back over to Sword Soul Tenki and just make the rest of the climb a little bit easier. I know that might sound bad or like lazy or whatever, but I was like, yeah, let's just switch back. But yeah, we had enough decent back and forth games there. I think that we did just fine as far as the games we showed for today. So that's just me. Don't mind me. I'm patting myself on the back there. So. But yeah, like I said, thank you very much for watching to the very end. That is an excellent way to support the channel. Other excellent ways to support the channel are by commenting and subscribing as well. I love to see you guys comment anyway, as well, not only does it support the channel, but also just your guys' feedback is very helpful support to me personally. You know, when I post these games, you guys are often good about offering constructive criticism as far as like, hey, on this line you could, or this, you know, time you could have done this, or at this timestamp, this was actually part of what your opponent was doing. Just having the insight of multiple people is always very helpful, and it's one of the reasons I wanted to start making Master Duel videos on this channel. Really, is that I wanted to kind of foster a place where like I can not only share my games to help people learn, but then they can in turn share their thoughts about the games to help me grow as well. So we're all helping each other improve all the time, which is a great thing I love about the community that we've got here on this channel. You guys are seriously the best, and I adore each and every one of you. And of course, I also want to thank those who are subscribing as well. Another very helpful way to grow the channel. And of course, by subscribing, that is the best way to get notified of my videos when they come out, which I always drop one Master Duel video per day, and even some other videos in addition to that. But you do have daily Master Duel content to look forward to when you subscribe. So, yep, I think that's going to about do it for this one. Guys, thank you again. And this is XLex. Signing out. Hope you guys have a fantastic day.